The night was quiet on the remote human research station. Machines hummed softly, and the stars outside burned like frozen fire. Alex, a human engineer, sat alone in his workshop, fixing broken tools. He lived here for many months, far away from Earth, far away from other people. Sometimes he wondered if he was more machine than man now, working every day in silence, but on this night, something strange waited for him. Something hidden, something alive in a way he could not explain. As he moved old crates to clear the floor, he noticed a soft glow under the dust. It was faint, almost like the dying light of a firefly. Curious, Alex bent down and brushed the dust away with his gloved hand. What he found was not a machine, not a rock, not anything human-made. It was a small object, round at the edges, with silver lines crossing like rivers. When he lifted it, it opened by itself, like a book unfolding. Inside were pages, but not paper. They shimmered with a strange blue light, symbols moving like they were alive. Alex froze. This was not human technology. This was alien. And in his hands he held something forbidden. Galactic law was clear. Humans must not touch or keep alien relics, but his heart beat faster. And his hand shook. He could not look away. The pages flickered, and then it happened. A rush of images exploded in his mind. He saw a child, small, fragile. With large shining eyes, her skin glowed faintly. Her hair was silver like moonlight. She sat alone in a dark room, clutching the same glowing book. Her lips moved as if she was whispering to someone. Alex gasped. It was her diary. His breathing grew heavy. The diary was not just words, it was alive with her memories. Her pain and her thoughts flowed into him like water into an empty glass. She was alone, so alone that her silence screamed louder than any voice. Alex pulled back, but the vision gripped him tighter. He felt her loneliness, her fear, her endless nights with no one to listen. He saw her writing, her hands trembling, her tears falling on glowing pages. The diary carried her heart. And now her heart was in his hands. Why me? Alex whispered into the empty workshop. The humming of machines gave no answer. But the diary pulsed, almost as if it had heard him. The light on its surface grew brighter, glowing against his skin. Suddenly the pages shifted. The symbols rearranged themselves into shapes he could almost read. Words formed, not perfect, but close enough for him to understand. They said, "Do not leave me alone." Alex felt cold spread through his chest. The girl was not gone. She was not a memory of the past. She was alive somewhere, reaching through the diary, reaching for him. His mind raced. If this was true, then she was still waiting. But where? And why had no one come for her? Why was the galaxy silent while a child cried into the stars? The law told him to report it, to seal the object, send it away, and forget it ever existed. But could he really do that? Could he turn his back on a lonely voice asking not to be left behind? He set the diary on the workbench, staring at it like it was a beating heart. Every few seconds it pulsed with light. Every pulse echoed like a heartbeat in his ears. And every heartbeat seemed to whisper, "Help me." Alex sat back. His hands covering his face, he had no answers. Only questions that clawed at his thoughts. He had discovered something more than technology. He had discovered a soul. And that soul was calling for him. The night grew colder. Shadows stretched across the room. The station lights flickered as if reacting to the strange object. And Alex realized his life was no longer his own. The discovery had chosen him, and now nothing would ever be the same again. The diary did not let Alex sleep that night. It sat on the table, glowing faintly, as if it was breathing. Every time Alex closed his eyes, he saw her face again, the alien child with silver hair and shining eyes. Her loneliness pressed against his heart like a weight. He knew this was not just an object. This was a bridge between two souls. The next morning, he returned to the diary with trembling hands. He set up his computer to scan the glowing pages. The machine hummed, but the strange symbols refused to be copied. They moved and twisted like living things, always changing. Frustrated, Alex leaned closer, whispering softly, "Who are you?" At that moment, the diary pulsed brighter. A wave of warmth ran up his arm, and a voice slipped into his mind. It was soft, delicate, like the wind through glass. "Can you hear me?" the voice asked. Alex staggered back, his chair crashing to the floor. He held his head, his heart racing. "Yes," he whispered. "I can hear you," the voice hesitated, trembling with fear. "You are not like the others. You are different. You opened my words, Alex swallowed hard. Who are you? There was a long silence, then the voice returned. My name is Leora. I am alone. I am the last one left. The words pierced him like a blade. Her tone was not angry, not bitter. Only tired and heavy with sadness. Alex sat down again, gripping the diary with both hands. Where are you, Leora? What happened to you? The pages flickered and suddenly images spilled into his mind. He saw crumbling towers under a red sky. He saw empty streets, broken machines, and the silence of a dead city among the ruins. A small figure moved carefully. Leora. She carried the glowing diary close to her chest. Her eyes searched the horizon, but no one ever came. Her voice shook as she spoke. My people are gone. Storms took the cities, hunger took the rest. I was too young to understand. I only knew the world was ending. Alex felt her fear, her small footsteps echoing through endless halls. She had lived through years of silence, years of waiting. He clenched his fists. How could the galaxy allow this? How could they leave a child to face such horror alone? Leora's voice softened. When I wrote in the diary, I prayed someone would find it, someone who would listen. And now you are here. Alex closed his eyes. Breathing deeply, it was more than chance, it felt like fate. But the rules burned in the back of his mind. Galactic law was clear. No human could interfere with alien species without permission. If he helped her, he risked everything, his job, his freedom, even his life. Still, as he listened to her fragile voice, the law felt smaller than her loneliness. He asked gently, Why me, Leora? Why not someone else? The diary pulsed like a heartbeat, and her answer came quietly. Because you listened. No one else has ever listened. The words struck deep. Alex realized she had cried into silence for years. She had begged the stars, but the stars had been deaf. Until now, until him, for hours they spoke. She told him how she used to sing to the broken walls to make the silence less heavy. She told him how she counted stars every night, pretending each one was a friend. Alex listened to every word, his throat tight, his eyes burning. She was not just an alien child. She was a soul, desperate for connection, desperate to be seen. In return, Alex shared small pieces of his life. He told her about Earth, about oceans and forests, about laughter in crowded cities. He told her about music, about the sound of a guitar string, about the smell of rain. Leora listened in awe, her voice brightening for the first time. It sounds beautiful, she whispered. I want to see it. I want to feel it. Her words broke him because he knew she might never have the chance, because the galaxy would never allow him to bring her home. But deep inside, a fire began to grow, a fire that told him maybe the law did not matter, maybe saving her was worth everything. As the night deepened, Alex noticed something strange. The diary's glow was stronger than before, and Leora's voice sounded clearer, as if she was closer. It felt less like a memory and more like she was speaking directly into the room. He looked around, half expecting to see her standing in the shadows. Alex, she whispered, do not leave me. His heart tightened. I won't, he promised without thinking. The words slipped out naturally, like a vow he had carried all along. Outside the station, the stars burned bright and silent, but inside, two lonely souls had finally met.
One human, one alien child, bound by a diary and a promise.
Neither of them knew what dangers waited. Neither of them knew how much the galaxy would resist this connection. But for the first time in years, Leora was not alone. And for the first time in his life, Alex felt he had found a purpose greater than himself. Alex woke early, but sleep had never really come. All night he had listened to the soft glow of the diary pulsing in the dark. And all night, Leora's voice had whispered in his mind. Her words carried a weight heavier than the silence of space. He could not shake the images of her ruined home, the loneliness in her voice. That morning, he decided to ask her more. He opened the diary and the pages shimmered like water. Leora, he whispered, show me your world. The light spread through the room. It swallowed the walls of his station, turning them into a canvas of stars. Suddenly, Alex was no longer in his workshop. He was standing in the middle of a shattered city. The diary had pulled him inside her memories. The air was heavy with smoke. The sky glowed red, storms boiling like wounds in the heavens. Tall towers leaned broken, their sides scarred by fire and time. Streets stretched endlessly, but they were empty. No voices, no laughter. Only the groan of wind between fallen stone. This was my home, Leora's voice echoed softly. Alex turned and saw her small figure at the edge of the ruins. She walked barefoot on cracked stone. Holding the glowing diary close, her silver hair was tangled. Her eyes too large for her fragile face, she looked at him not as a ghost, but as if she was really there beside him. "My people built cities of light," she whispered. "They sang songs that shook the stars. They dreamed of forever, but forever did not come." Her voice trembled as she pointed to the broken buildings. Storms came first, the sky turned against us. Then sickness spread, and one by one they were gone. Alex followed her through the ruins. Every corner carried echoes of lives cut short, shattered toys on the ground, broken instruments that would never sing again. A small mural painted on a wall showed families holding hands, but the faces were faded, swallowed by dust and time. Leora's steps slowed. "I used to hide here," she said, pointing to a hollow beneath the collapsed tower. "When the wind screamed, I curled up with the diary. I thought if I wrote my fears, they could not eat me alive." Her small hands trembled as she brushed dust from the wall. "Sometimes I pretended I was not the last. I pretended someone would find me, but no one came." Alex's chest tightened. He wanted to reach for her, to hold her, but he knew this was only memory. Yet the ache in his heart was real. No child should carry such loneliness, no voice should echo into silence for so long. The diary shifted again and the vision changed. He saw Leora as she grew older, her eyes dimming, her voice softer. Each entry she wrote was filled with hope but ended with despair. "Still waiting," she had written. "Still no answer. Maybe tomorrow." Alex's fists clenched, his anger burning hot. How could the galaxy ignore this? How could the laws of men and aliens allow a child to be forgotten? When the vision faded, he was back in his workshop. The glow of the diary flickered like a dying flame. Leora's voice lingered, fragile as glass. "You see now. You know why I am afraid." Alex sat in silence, his mind torn in two. He had always trusted order, trusted the laws that guided human explorers. The Galactic Council claimed rules were made to protect, but who was protected here? Not Leora, not her people, not a single voice crying in the ruins. He whispered, "You are not alone anymore. I am here." Her answer came slowly. "But will you stay? Or will you send me away like the others did?" The words cut deep. Alex knew what she meant. Other explorers must have passed this world. They must have seen the signals, the ruins, maybe even her. And they had turned away, obeying the law, leaving her to rot in silence. The fire in Alex's chest grew brighter. He could not be like them. He would not be like them. But fear still crept at the edges of his resolve. If the council discovered this connection, his career would be over, his life ruined. He would be branded a traitor, an enemy of order. Yet when he thought of her silver eyes staring into the endless night, the choice felt simple. How could he choose rules over a child's life? How could he pretend her voice did not matter? Even if the galaxy punished him, he would not abandon her. That night, Leora sang softly through the diary. Her song was strange, the notes curved like rivers. Alex closed his eyes and listened. It was the first time her voice carried warmth. For a moment, the ruins faded, and the world did not feel so broken. But as the song ended, alarms on his station began to flash red. Energy readings were spiking. Signals from the diary were spreading beyond his control, somewhere out in the void. Someone else might have noticed, and if they had, the secret would not stay hidden for long. Alex looked at the diary, its glow steady and strong. He whispered, "Whatever comes, I will not give you up." And in the silence that followed, he thought he heard her whisper back, "Then maybe I am not broken anymore." The days that followed were no longer silent for Alex. Every night, when the stars outside the station glowed like diamonds, he opened the diary, and every night Leora's voice came through, soft and fragile at first, but growing stronger. The lonely alien girl was no longer a shadow in his mind. She was becoming real, piece by piece. Word by word, at first, their talks were simple. She asked about the color of Earth's oceans, about the taste of fruit, about the warmth of fire. Alex answered patiently, describing things she had never known. He told her how waves rose and fell like breathing giants, how apples crunched sweet and sharp, how flames danced and sang in the dark. She listened with awe, whispering, "Your world sounds like a dream." Then she began to share pieces of herself. She told him about the songs her people once sang, songs that made the skies shimmer with light. She hummed the melodies, broken and faint but still beautiful. Alex closed his eyes and felt the music touch him like a hand on his chest. He realized then that her culture, her memories, her very soul was living inside this fragile diary. Soon laughter returned to her voice. Alex taught her human jokes, simple riddles, and playful words at first. She did not understand, but when she did, her giggle rang like bells across the silence. It was a sound that melted the coldness inside him. He had lived alone for so long that he had forgotten how precious laughter could be. But not all was joy. Some nights Leora grew quiet, her voice fading into sadness. She confessed how she feared the silence would return. "How long will you stay?" she asked, her voice trembling. Alex placed his hand on the diary, whispering, "As long as you want me here." The glow of the pages brightened, and though he could not see her face, he knew she was smiling. Yet in the shadows, danger was forming. The strange signals from the diary had not gone unnoticed. Far across the void, galactic inspectors were tracing energy spikes. Machines recorded Alex's station as a point of interest. Whispers of forbidden contact began to travel through channels of law. Unaware, Alex continued to build the bond that would change everything. One evening, Leora spoke with unusual courage. "I want to tell you a secret," she said softly. Alex leaned closer, his heart racing. "What is it?" Her words carried both pride and sorrow. "My people believed the diary was more than a book. It was a living memory. It could hold the heart of a soul. When I was left alone, I poured myself into it. So even if my body failed, my voice would survive." Alex's throat tightened. "You mean this diary? It is part of you." "Yes," she whispered. "Without it, I would have faded long ago. It is my anchor, my last light." His chest ached with both wonder and pain. She had trapped her spirit inside the glowing pages just to hold on, to keep herself from being erased by time. That night, Alex could not sleep. He thought about the law, about the risk, about the inspectors who might already be watching. But when he imagined turning the diary in, he felt a deep emptiness claw at him. He knew then, Leora was not just a voice, not just a relic, she was a friend, a sister. Perhaps something even more, she had become his bond, his reason, his light in the void. The next day he made a promise. "I will not let the galaxy silence you, I will not let them erase what you are." The diary pulsed warmly, and Leora's voice came back with tears hidden behind her words. "Then I am not alone anymore, I am not forgotten." From that day on, their connection grew deeper. They shared stories. They shared fears, they shared dreams. Alex began sketching Earth for her, rough drawings of mountains, rivers and forests. She, in return, painted images of her world in his mind. Gardens of silver flowers, skies filled with glowing wings, cities that once sang with light. Through these exchanges, a secret universe bloomed between them, a world only they could enter. But the bond was dangerous. Every message, every pulse of energy could expose them. One slip, and the council would send ships to erase the connection. Alex knew it, yet he could not stop, because each night he heard her laughter. Each night he felt her spirit glow brighter, and he knew whatever punishment awaited, it was worth it. One night, as stars shifted above, Leora asked a question that left him breathless. "Alex, if I told you where I am, would you come?" His hands froze over the diary. His mind swirled with fire and fear. If he answered yes, it meant breaking every law, risking everything. But when he heard the trembling in her voice, he realized he had already chosen yes. He whispered, "I would come." The diary glowed brighter than ever before. Her voice was filled with hope and fear together. "Then maybe I can be free." Outside, the stars were silent, but inside the station, a secret bond had been born. A bond stronger than fear, stronger than law, stronger than the silence of a broken world. And that bond was only growing, drawing them closer to a future the galaxy would never forgive. The days grew heavier on the station. Alex could no longer pretend that this was only curiosity. Every time he opened the diary, Leora's voice grew weaker, as if the life within her was fading. He noticed the glow was dimmer, the warmth colder. Fear gripped him. If she was connected to the diary, then maybe her real body was dying too. One evening, her voice cracked like breaking glass. "Alex, the storms are getting worse. My shelter is falling apart, my air is thin." His stomach turned, his heart thundering in his chest. He wanted to ask more, but she whispered, "I don't know how much longer I can wait." Alex stood, pacing the room. Galactic law screamed in his mind. Humans were forbidden to interfere with lost alien species. The council punished violators with exile, prison, sometimes worse. But as he listened to her fragile voice, the law sounded hollow. What good was a law that allowed a child to die alone? That night he made a choice. He would save her, even if it cost him everything. The next morning, Alex pulled open storage bays and began preparing his ship. He ran full diagnostics, checking fuel cells, repairing damaged thrusters, stocking supplies. Every movement was urgent. Every sound of tools echoed with the weight of the mission. He worked without rest, driven by the image of Leora's silver eyes dimming in the dark. Leora spoke to him through the diary as he worked. She gave him coordinates hidden deep in her last entries. A planet scarred by storms, half-broken, wrapped in clouds of ash. Her voice shook as she described it. "No one comes here anymore. No one dares," Alex whispered back. "Then I will." As he planned the flight path, alarms on his computer flashed warnings. The signals from the diary were spiking higher than ever. Someone else could be watching. Someone else could already be on their way. Alex's chest tightened. He had to move fast before inspectors came. Before the law took her from him for hours, he packed quietly. Rations, oxygen tanks, medical kits, even blankets, things a child might need. He found himself folding each item with strange care, as if preparing not just for survival but for comfort. Because Leora was not just a stranger, she was someone he cared for deeply now. As the ship's engines roared in testing, Leora's voice returned. "Alex, are you really coming?" Her tone carried disbelief, as if hope was too dangerous to hold. He pressed his hand against the glowing pages. "Yes, I'm coming. No one should be left behind." The diary pulsed warmly, almost like a heartbeat, but fear was never far. Each time the ship's system beeped, Alex thought it was the council tracking him. Each shadow outside the window felt like an inspector's vessel waiting to strike. Still, he refused to stop. The rescue plan had already taken root inside him. There was no turning back. On the last night before launch, Alex sat with the diary on his lap. Leora's voice was soft, weaker than ever. "I'm afraid, Alex. What if you don't find me? What if I am gone before you arrive?" He closed his eyes, his throat burning. "You will hold on because I am coming. And I don't break promises." The diary flickered, then glowed steady. She whispered, "Then I will wait for you." Outside, storms of cosmic dust rolled across the black sky. Inside, Alex felt a storm of his own. Fear and hope clashed in every heartbeat. He thought of Earth, of the life he would never return to. He thought of the council, of the punishment waiting for him. But more than anything, he thought of Leora, a lonely girl clutching her diary in a collapsing shelter, and he knew nothing else mattered. As dawn reached his station, Alex stood before his ship. The metal hull gleamed faintly, scarred but ready. He strapped himself into the pilot's seat, the diary glowing at his side. The engines rumbled, shaking the ground beneath him. The launch codes blinked on his screen. All he had to do was press the final sequence. For one last time he hesitated. He could still report everything, hand the diary over, save himself. But then Leora's voice whispered in the back of his mind, faint but clear. "Please, don't leave me alone." His finger pressed the button. The engine screamed, the station shook, and the ship lifted into the endless night. The stars rushed past the windows. The coordinates glowed on his screen, guiding him toward a dying world. Every mile closer, his heart beat louder. Every mile closer, the risk grew heavier. But Alex no longer cared about law or punishment. He only cared about keeping his promise. As the ship flew into the darkness, the diary pulsed beside him. And though the galaxy itself stood against him, Alex whispered, "Hold on, Leora. I'm coming." The journey through space was long and heavy. Stars stretched into lines as Alex's ship pierced the void. Every second carried him closer to the forbidden world. Closer to Leora, but every second also pushed him deeper into danger. If the Galactic Council caught him, his life would be over. The diary rested beside him, glowing faintly. Sometimes it pulsed with warmth, and Leora's voice reached him. She whispered updates of her world, her crumbling shelter, the storms outside. Each word was weaker than the last. Each pause longer. It was a race against time, and Alex knew he was already late. As he approached the planet, alarms filled the cockpit. The atmosphere was unstable. Thick with lightning and ash, winds howled like monsters. Tearing at the ship as he descended, his screens flashed red warnings. Too dangerous. Too deadly. Turn back. But Alex's hands held the controls tight. He had promised her, and promises could not break. The ship shuddered as it entered the storm. Acid rain splashed against the hull, leaving burning marks. Lightning cracked across the sky, blinding and furious. The engines screamed as if they might rip apart. But Alex pushed forward, teeth clenched, eyes locked on the coordinates. Finally, through the chaos, he saw it. A small canyon hidden between ruined towers. Signals blinked weakly from within. It was her shelter, broken, fragile. Half buried under falling stone, his heart pounded. He had found her. Alex landed hard, the ship groaning under the weight of the storm. He grabbed oxygen tanks, medical kits, and wrapped himself in protective gear. The diary pulsed brighter as if guiding his steps through the raging wind. Through the burning air, he stumbled forward. His boots sank into cracked ground. His visor fogged with heat and ash, but then he saw her. Leora stood at the mouth of the shelter, small and trembling, her silver hair whipped by the wind, her eyes wide with disbelief. The diary clutched to her chest glowed in rhythm with the one in his hands. For a moment time froze. Human and alien stared at each other across the storm. Two lonely souls finally face to face. "Alex," she whispered, her voice shaking with wonder. Her lips formed his name as if she had practiced it for years. He dropped the diary and rushed forward. His arms wrapped around her fragile body. She was lighter than he expected. Weaker, but she was real, warm, alive. "I found you," he whispered, voice breaking. Her eyes filled with tears. "I thought you never would. I thought I would die here." "Not anymore," he said. "You're safe now." But the storm roared louder, shaking the broken canyon. Stones collapsed around them. The ground trembled. Alarms screamed from his suit, oxygen low, exposure too high. They had little time. Carrying her in his arms, Alex stumbled back toward the ship. Every step felt like a war, the storm clawing at him, trying to tear her away. But he held her tight, refusing to let go at last. The ship's hatch opened, and he fell inside. Gasping, the door sealed, shutting out the storm's fury. For the first time, silence returned. Leora coughed weakly, her small body trembling in his arms. Alex hurried to connect her to oxygen, wrapped her in blankets. Her skin was pale, her breathing thin, but her eyes never left his face. "You really came," she whispered. As if she could not believe it, he smiled, though tears blurred his vision. "I told you I would." For a moment, they both rested, human and alien, broken and fragile, but no longer alone. But peace never lasted. The ship's sensors blared a new alarm. Ships approaching, galactic patrol vessels, sharp and fast. They had tracked the illegal signals, they had found him. Fear stabbed Alex's chest. If they caught him, they would take Leora away, erase her. Call her a forbidden relic, he could not allow that. He had not come this far to lose her now. He rushed to the cockpit. Strapping into the seat, the engines roared, struggling against the violent storm. Outside, shadows of patrol ships cut through the clouds. Their voices echoed over the comm. "Unidentified human craft. You are violating galactic law. Surrender immediately." Alex's hands shook over the controls. He glanced back at Leora, wrapped in blankets, clutching the diary tight. Her wide eyes shone with fear. "Alex," she whispered. "Don't let them take me." He gritted his teeth, fire burning inside him. "Never," he said. "Hold on." He pushed the engines to full power. The ship leapt from the canyon, lightning chasing it. Patrol vessels fired warnings, beams slicing through the storm. But Alex dodged, weaving through fire and chaos. Every breath was a gamble, every second was a battle. The storm screamed around them, the patrols closed in. But Alex's will was stronger than fear. He would break every law, fight every ship, challenge the galaxy itself, because in the seat behind him, an alien child's life was finally in his hands, and he would not let her be taken again. The ship tore through the storm. Engines screamed, lightning cracked, and patrol vessels closed in from every side. Alex gripped the controls, sweat dripping down his face. He dodged left, rolled right, pushing the engines harder than they were ever built to go. Metal groaned, alarms blared, but he refused to stop. In the back seat, Leora clung to the diary, her silver eyes wide with fear, her small body trembling. But when she looked at Alex, something inside her calmed. For the first time, someone was fighting for her. For the first time, she was not alone. The comms crackled again. "Human vessel, shut down engines and prepare to surrender. This is your final warning." Alex's jaw tightened. Surrender meant death for her, exile for him, erasure for their bond. He slammed the comm switch off. "No one takes her from me," he whispered. He pulled the ship into a steep climb. Bursting through the storm clouds, stars spread across the black sky. Cold and bright, the patrol ships followed close, their weapons glowing. Alex's ship was smaller, weaker, but he had something they didn't: resolve. The kind of resolve born from a promise. Leora's voice reached him softly. "Why do you risk everything for me?" He looked back, meeting her eyes. "Because you matter, because no one else listened, because no child should be forgotten." Her eyes filled with tears. Her lips trembled into a small smile. "You sound like the stories my people used to tell, stories of heroes." Alex shook his head. "I'm no hero. I'm just someone who couldn't walk away." The patrols fired, beams of energy slicing through the void. Alex twisted the ship, dodging narrowly. One shot grazed the hull, sparks flying, the ship rattled. Systems screamed, but he held steady. Adrenaline burned through his veins. Every move was life or death. Ahead, a dense asteroid field glimmered like teeth in the dark. It was dangerous, but it was his only chance. He plunged into it, weaving between massive stones. The patrols followed, but their larger ships struggled to keep pace. Rocks shattered under their fire, dust filled the void. Alex's smaller craft slipped between gaps, moving like a shadow. Inside the cockpit, silence stretched between bursts of alarms. Leora's voice broke through, gentle but firm. "You could still leave me. Alex, if they catch you, they'll destroy your life. It's not too late to let go." He turned sharply, eyes blazing. "No, Leora, listen to me. I didn't come here to save my life. I came to save yours." Her breath caught, and in that moment, the fear in her eyes melted into something brighter. Hope. Hours passed like years. Finally, the patrols fell back, their signals fading. Alex had lost them in the endless maze of asteroids. The alarms quieted. The ship steadied. For the first time since landing on her world, Alex could breathe. He unstrapped himself and turned to her. Leora was still wrapped in blankets, the diary glowing faintly in her arms. Her cheeks were pale, her breathing thin, but her eyes were alive. She reached for his hand, her small fingers curling into his. "You kept your promise," she whispered. His throat tightened. "Always," he said, "but even in safety." Alex knew the truth. He could not return to Earth. He could not return to the Council. From this moment on, he was an outlaw, a traitor to law, but a guardian to something greater. He had chosen love over rules, compassion over order, and though the galaxy would not forgive him, he did not care. Leora leaned against him, her head resting on his arm. "Where will we go now?" she asked softly. Alex looked out at the endless stars. "Anywhere, everywhere, as long as we're together. We'll make our own path." Her eyes sparkled with wonder. "For so long, I dreamed of the stars, but I never thought I'd see them with someone beside me." He smiled, heart swelling. "Then this is the beginning." Not the end. Silence filled the ship. But it was no longer empty silence. It was the silence of peace, of hope, of a bond that had survived storms and fire. Two voices, once alone. Now bound forever, Alex closed his eyes. Feeling the weight of his choice, he had broken laws, defied the Council, risked everything. But as Leora's hand tightened around his, he knew it had all been worth it. Somewhere far away, the Council would hunt them. Somewhere in the shadows, patrols would search for their trail. But here, in this small ship, a new story had begun. A human and an alien child. No longer strangers, but family together. They would write their own future. Alex looked at her, his voice steady. "One human choice changed your life, but maybe, just maybe, it will change the galaxy too." Leora smiled, her silver eyes glowing like stars. "Then let's change it together." The ship drifted into the void. Two fugitives against the universe. But they carried something more powerful than law. More powerful than fear, they carried hope. And hope was enough to build a new beginning.